Hey guys, Fishing the Bill here today, and I've been getting a lot of questions recently on what line do I recommend for soft plastic fishing, like this, just a regular worm with a Texas rig with the hook through the back, and if I can find my weight. But I usually just use a bullet weight at the front of that, but, oh, here it is. Right there, as you all can see. And that at the front of it. Or such as my Cinco worms that I use. These and these are just that worm in different sizes and shapes and textures. And I've also had several questions on what lines do I recommend for each of the banjo minnow sizes. The 3-inch, the 4-inch, and the 5-inch. I've had several questions on what do I recommend for that, and I'll go over that here soon. But right now I'm going to go over the first initial question, what pound line do I recommend for the soft plastic fishing? And mainly I like to stick with a spool full of 10-pound line. This is the Zebco Omniflex. This is really good line. And just a spoolful of that, and you can throw it really far and you have a lot of control over it. And if you're using something like say a brush hog or a chunkier lure that you're pulling through weeds and stuff, I'd go with 8-pound line. I use Berkeley 8-pound on my bait cast reel, and it's the green color. And this line will hold up and it won't break off easily. The knot might pull out, but the line won't break. You'll lose the knot first before the line breaks. And if you're going for real sneaky fish it's a slow day and you're not getting very many bites, and you're in a pond with some smaller fish, I'd recommend going with a spoolful of 6-pound line. And I just keep a separate spool of different pound line in my tackle box just so I can switch spools easily, because my reel allows me to do that. And I also like to use braided line, but I don't use it for soft plastic fishing because it doesn't sink very fast, and it likes to float, has a tendency to, so I try to stay away from that when I'm artificial fishing. Only if I know that if there's toothy fish in the area or turtles, because a lot of times I'll have turtles eat my plastic worms. So I try to stay away from this unless I know that there's bigger fish, toothier fish in the water. And for the plastic worm, I stick with the 10-pound line, 10-pound or 6-pound, whatever you want. 10-pound, 6-pound, 8-pound. I recommend 10 pounds just because you're going to be working. If you're using a plastic worm, you're going to be working it over stumps and over ledges and everything. Don't use braid for these, because braid, it floats in the water, and you want your worm to be like this in the water, like it's digging through the rocks. And if you're using braid, it's going to be like this in the water, and you're just going to be pulling it in straight across. And now for the banjo minnows. Now I personally use the 6 and 10-pound. I don't like the 8-pound because it's harder to cast because it's a thicker line brand. I believe the Berkeley's line is normally, the 8-pound is thicker. It's the extra tough line, and it's thicker, so I try to use the 6-pound or the 10-pound, and that's for the 3-inch through the 5-inch. But for the 5-inch and the 7 and 9 inches, if you can get higher pound test, or even the braids even works for this. It doesn't take away from the action or anything. It'll still move like it's supposed to, and you'll still get a lot of fish. But if you're using the 7 and 9 inch, use the braid, or get you some 12 or 14-pound lines so that you know that you're not going to lose your fish if you hook any. And the 4-inch, stay with the 6, 10, or 8. It doesn't matter really. None of it sacrifices any action, and there's really no difference in any of the performances. The 10-pound with the 4-inch seems to actually take away a little bit from the action, but that's just because it can become wrapped up in the lure, and but it doesn't do much to it. You'll just have to come out. When you get out of the water, you might find that, oh, look, my knot is down here instead of up here. And to fix that, all you have to do is you just take a pair of pliers and clench the little, there's a little slit, I don't know if y'all can see it, but the line can slide right through there on the knot. And just take some pliers and pinch that closed when you're done. And that should keep your knot on. And the reel that I like to use, let me get it real quick. For any of my fishing, really, I like to stay with the spinning reel just because they're easy to operate and they're low maintenance. Bait casts can get a lot of birds' nests and stuff. What I like to use is, the camera's fine, what's that? I'm just screwing the drag on real quick. What I like to use is the Bass Pro Shops Mega Tournament, and I took the spool off that came on it, and I put the spool that came on the Bass Pro Shops Mega Cast, the black one, the spinning reel, and I took the spool off of that and put it onto here so I could have higher line capacity with 10-pound line. I get about 300 yards of 10-pound line on this, and it lets me cast farther and have more control over it. And that's pretty much it. This has been Fishing the Ville, and this has been my line recommendation video, and I'd like to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and I'd also like to thank my cameraman.